Russell Wilson listed as quarterback 1 on, of course, every team's got to put out these dopey unofficial depth charts before their preseason games. Wilson listed as 1, but Fields is going to start the preseason opener against the Texans.
I still think they're going to start Wilson, but, if they start Fields, so be it. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I know this. I think they're both talented.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
What is the ceiling for this kid? Now that he's got the money, and we saw something click with him, what is the ceiling for a Jordan Love in this Green Bay team?
Deepest pass target group in the National Football League, 2 stud tight ends. They're a legit 5 deep at receiver, 7 bona fide pass targets, Gio. Come on, man. This guy could be a stud. Top 5 quarterback.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Say the under has the correct juice to the 6.5 win total for the New York Giants. It's a losing season. It's a bad season in the greater New York area. Is Brian Daboll and is Joe Shane back next year?
As a Giants fan, what are you looking forward to? Absolutely nothing. You're hoping like the Yankees make a long enough run so you can forget about the Giants.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Let's go. Welcome to the Live Golf Team Championship. The golf has been mesmerizing. They are the Live Golf Team Champions.
Team golf is back.
Oh, yes! Are you ready?
Let's go!
That's what champions do.
What do you say, folks? Little game time decisions right here on SportsGrid, live on a Thursday night. I'm Kevin Walsh with you. Plenty to get to here on a Thursday. The WNBA is back after the Olympic break. Put the league on pause. We have 3 tonight, including Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky, as well as the New York Liberty out in Los Angeles against the Sparks. Let's make sure you can touch this baseball board right off the bat. Tonight, for me, it's the Philadelphia Phillies that jump off the page, and it starts with Kyle Schwarber. Lefty, yes, please. Schwarbs against Parker. Parker, a lefty, is actually worse against left-handed bats. Schwarber, insanely, who does not hit for average, bats well over 300 against lefties this season. In the leadoff spot, this is a no-brainer here at minus 115. Bryce Harper also qualifies if you would like. Bryce this season, better against lefties. I played Schwarbs, though, because he actually has better numbers, and he's a cheaper price here at the minus 115 number. But Bryce makes plenty of sense here. That's where my baseball card is zeroed in tonight with the Philadelphia Phillies. Sticking with Philadelphia, there is an NFL preseason game tonight. It's Patriots and the Eagles. This number here has been flipping. Talking to some people earlier in the day, I hadn't realized this, but it was made to my attention. This spread was -3 Philadelphia. Earlier in the week, a thought that the Birds might go out there with their starters. Those expectations have dropped. We should not be seeing Jalen Hurts in this game. Despite that fact, I think you could still see some key players for the Eagles tonight. Either way you slice it, I think the 3 is a number that you take with the Philadelphia Eagles here in preseason. We'll expand on this game and the outlook for these teams here heading into another season of NFL action. We'll see what the Birds have in store. But again, catching 3 is the way I'm going to look here on this Thursday night. No Friday football Saturday, and I'll be right here on Game Time Decisions. First time in a while, we're weekend steady with you, and we'll have a full NFL slate, plus a lot more to get involved with. But let's go over to the W, man. It's exciting to have it back. It's been a while since we had some WNBA. Now, We obviously got to see a lot of big-time stars throughout the Olympics. The USA roster loaded with superstars. And on tonight's slate, you'll see some of them. Sab and Stewie with the Liberty. And the Phoenix Mercury had 3 players, which, again, to some degree almost feels incredibly wild. But they had 3 players on that roster in Diana Taurasi, Kalia Copper, and Brittany Griner. What do they have in store here for the Chicago Sky? Well, let's start with that game. I think for a lot of people, it's going to be the main game because we haven't seen Angel Reese in a long time. But this is a very noteworthy number that you have here. Phoenix is laying 5. That totals at 161.5. Now, I have the under on my card in this game at 166.5. I made that wager about 3 hours ago, give or take, maybe a little bit more. Numbers completely collapsed due to Kennedy Carter, the leading scorer for the Chicago Sky, being out tonight with a non-COVID illness. So the Chicago Sky enter this game shorthanded without their leading scorer, and it's seen that total drop like a stone, and it's seen this number climb here tonight with Phoenix laying 5. But it is not the only absence that is noteworthy. Marina Mabrey was the second leading scorer on the Chicago Sky, led this team in minutes, and led this team in assists. She was traded at the All-Star break to the Connecticut Sun. An exciting move for Connecticut. They'll play tomorrow. A shooter who can defend a bit and really elevate that offense for Connecticut. It's a great move. But for the Sky, now you take the court for not only what was going to be the first time all year you were without Marina Mabrey, you're missing Kennedy Carter. Carter's points prop in this game was 20.5, 21.5, depending on where you looked. That is a lot tonight on Angel Reese, who checks in here with 13.5 as her points prop, 13.5 as her rebounds prop, minus 220 for a double-double. The rookies in Angel Reese, even her teammate Camila Cardoza. Of course, we're going to have all eyes on Caitlin Clark tomorrow, who did not make that trip over to Team USA. There is going to be a lot of excitement, I think, for people to see them hit the floor. I think there's going to try and be a bit of a give and take in the market, though. Are these women going to be hitting the ground running with this right now? And we'll see what Angel Reese is able to do here with the Chicago Sky. We'll move this forward a little bit, get involved with that Rookie of the Year number. You see it's a minus 2,000 price here on Caitlin Clark. Angel Reese checks in at 7-1. This is a 2-woman race. Cameron Brink, we know, got a season-ending injury before the All-Star break happened. We'll talk some Rakia Jackson in a moment. But we'll get to that Sparks game against the Liberty. But first, let's just stop in quickly. Lynx Mystics. It's a game I'm not involved with. An 8.5-point spread, 156.5 listed total. Total dropping just a tick. It was 157.5. That spread from 8 up maybe from a flat 8 to an 8.5 here. But this is an important game because it's the first time Nafisha Collier is playing for the Lynx in quite some time. Nafisha missed the final 5 games that the Lynx played prior to the All-Star break beginning. She played very minimal in that Team USA WNBA All-Star game. And then we have everything that she played out there with the Olympics, and she was great all in all for the Olympics. But what are we going to get from Nafisha? I was tempted to actually play her points prop over, which is checking in at 18.5. She is on the year averaging just under 20 a game, or exactly at 20. I wanted to step back, though, because the thing about Nafisha Collier is she is incredible as it pertains to the amount of minutes she can play for Minnesota. I just want to see what that workload looks like for her first game in a Lynx uniform in quite some time. I think there's a little more uncertainty around that for Nafisha Collier, and due to that, I backed off her numbers, but I do think if you are, I almost wonder if you play 25 plus, try and chase a bigger number. I don't mind playing the Nafisha, but again, I'm going to back off tonight just a little bit. Game number 3 on this slate, it's the Liberty, and it is the Sparks out in L.A., New York, an 11.5-point favorite on the road, total 165.5. Now, the Liberty come in with both of their stars winning gold. in Sabrina Ionescu, as well as, of course, Breanna Stewart, who was one of the two best players on that team alongside Las Vegas's Aja Wilson. And tonight, you'll notice Sabrina Ionescu with a higher points prop, actually, than Breanna Stewart. And I'm going to look to lightly sell Sabrina on this number here at 20.5 for a points prop. At even money right now, that number on the SAB under. And if you look at her two games right before the All-Star break, she had scored 28 and 30 points. Breanna Stewart was out for those games, though. So I think that climbs our number up here a little bit. Now, to be fair, in the 9 games before that, she had scored over 20.5 7 times. But it was narrow. Really, really narrow. She was averaging 21.6 points per game in that stretch. Again, I know that is over, but I think we have a little bit of a sell high here spot for Sabrina Ionescu. I don't, as much as she's coming off of winning gold and probably wants to, prove a lot of people wrong because she didn't probably play as much as she should have, I'm willing to play under with Ionescu playing alongside Stewie in a Liberty uniform for the first time in a while. I'm also on Rakia Jackson over 11.5 points in this game on the Sparks side of it. Just to quickly pop up your price here as it pertains to win a WNBA championship. The New York Liberty are co-favorites with the Vegas Aces. We will continue to watch this market shift and weave as the season plays out. The Fever have come all the way down to 60-1. A lot more to get to here. We're live on SportsGrid. It's Game Time Decisions.
This property runs this community. A lot of people from this community work here. They're proud of this. This has got a lot of history here. And then when you think about the beauty with the hills, the mountains, the trees, the water.
One thing about this place is one of the words he kept saying, family. It's a place that when my family, everyone comes, they treat you like family. They treat you like you're one of their own. And it's, obviously when you look at the place, you look at the rooms, everything, it's like taking a step back in time. And I think that's an absolutely amazing place to be able to put your phone down and slow everything down. I mean, the world these days is so fast. Everything has to get done so quickly. And every time I've come here with my family at Greenbrier, it's like everything stops and it's slow motion. You actually get to enjoy life, enjoy your time with family.
Just this place feels like I'm a kid again. You get out here, you see nature, you see the trails, you see going on a hike. I grew up in Fresno. We go up to the mountains every once in a while, and that's just kind of what it feels like a little bit. Obviously, it's more forested here and whatnot, but the 58, I don't know how to explain it, just kind of semi-blacked out, you can kind of say. It was one of those moments where the last 4 holes, I was obviously trying to win a tournament, but it started to rain, and I just kept focusing on my game. I didn't get outside of this bubble that I created with myself. I just wanted to focus on hitting the next best shot. And I think that's what really pushed me on to focusing on, obviously winning the tournament, but to shoot in the 50s and then ultimately make the 40-footer on the last hole for 58. That was just the cherry on top. And what a special moment, a special place in my heart forever, and probably one of the most special moments in my entire life.
Welcome in. What do we say? Live with you right here on SportsGrid, Game Time Decisions. Kevin Walsh, we are live with you on a Thursday night. NFL preseason action. Eagles, Patriots. No Matthew Judon. He was traded. Straight over to the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons making some moves, bringing in former Denver Broncos safety Justin Simmons into the rotation. So the Falcons, a really busy offseason. And for Atlanta, when the dust settles, if you believe in Matthew Judon, you believe in Justin Simmons, And most importantly, if you believe in Kirk Cousins, it's going to be fine. But, and I can't give enough compliments to the crew for putting Michael Penix Jr. on that Atlanta Falcons Outlook graphic. I can't, because that is so perfect. It goes to show how odd this situation still somewhat is. And I know that this is coming from Mr. Sit the quarterback. I actually think it's beneficial to Michael Penix that he has mostly no chance to play this year unless there is an injury once again to Kirk Cousins. And I'm also someone who believes at times we do not value the backup quarterback position enough. That, probably more than anything, is the Eagle fan in me with what I saw Nick Foles accomplish. But to sign Kirk Cousins and in the same breath take a quarterback 8th overall, that is not something I can really remember a team doing. I guess maybe there's some similarities to the Packers, kind of paying Rodgers and of course drafting Jordan Love all within a similar time frame. But to some degree it's different because Rodgers was already in-house. Rodgers was a little, maybe a tick older, but also the Packers kind of have that history of doing it, right? Like Atlanta is trying to rest their future on Kirk Cousins. We talk about this just for the basketball people, the Warriors attempting to exist on two timelines, and it somehow they were able to win a title, but it's also massively burned them, never getting appropriate value in the trade market for their young guys. Once again, it's not a one-to-one comp here, but the Falcons are looking to exist on two timelines. They want to win the division this year with Kirk Cousins, next year with Kirk Cousins, and then pass the baton to Michael Penix Jr., I guess. By the third year, maybe the fourth. Again, it's a little odd, though, that they did draft Michael Penix, the older quarterback. But that's the decision that the Atlanta Falcons ended up making. And they brought Matthew Judon in, and I think for a lot of people that can justify it. Because that was a win-now move. Justin Simmons coming in, that's a win-now move. They are certainly trying to make the decisions to put themselves in a position to win now. The Patriots are doing the exact opposite. And they should. A 3-point favorite, though, tonight against the Philadelphia Eagles. Total for this game is continuing to drop down to 33.5. Both of these teams played under in their opening games. Both of these teams were victorious. Both of these teams covered in their opening games, though these games were not apples to apples. The New England Patriots were a 6-point favorite against the Carolina Panthers. I was here with you a week ago when that game played. I was on New England minus the 6 because New England had, I don't want to say unprecedented, but an outrageous quarterback matchup in their favor. Jack Plummer started for Carolina. I believe Jack Plummer is worse than all 4 quarterbacks New England threw out there in that game. Bailey Zappi, Joe Milton, Drake May, and Jacoby Brissett. So the New England Patriots were able to get the job done. But man, it's not like the New England Patriots looked awesome in that football game. Drake May and Jacoby Brissett didn't generate scoring drives. They scored 7 points in the first half. And again, credit the defense. The defense did their thing against what is one of the worst, if not the worst, quarterback situations from the opening week of preseason football. But it is, I think, a more difficult situation now having to play Kenny Pickett. And again, we are evaluating and weighing these quarterbacks on a preseason scale. But on a preseason scale, Kenny Pickett is actually pretty good. I would take Kenny Pickett. Drake May just put him in his own different category. But I would say, give me Pickett over Jacoby Brissett, Bailey Zappi. Again, put Joe Milton even in a separate category there. But I also don't think is maybe being given enough credit. And while I know the Baltimore Ravens have now lost multiple preseason games in a row, and I know that some of the preseason success was with Tyler Huntley, but the Baltimore Ravens losing a home preseason game is one thing. The Ravens were home preseason dogs to Philly. Now the Eagles catch a full 3 points here against the Patriots. I think that's too big of a move. I'm on the Eagles here, and I'm on the Eagles plus the 3. Really nothing on the total for me. I don't feel good about it either direction. 33.5 is your number here right now. Just a quick, since we have them for you tonight, season outlook on these two football teams, and they're very different. The Philadelphia Eagles are supposed to compete for a Super Bowl. The Philadelphia Eagles are big favorites to make the postseason, and they are continuingly increasing favorites to win the NFC East, up to a minus 140 number. When the season came to a close, the Eagles were not favorites to win this division. They were at best co-favorites with the Cowboys. It has been remarkable to watch Dallas lose and lose and lose in this market through their own doing. It's not the Saquon deal or the drafting of Cooper DeJean, even if those were good moves that put Philly at minus 140. It's the fact that there are losing confidence in CeeDee Lamb being out there week number 1 for the Dallas Cowboys. It's things like that I think have seen this Dallas number drop the way it has. For the Patriots, this team is not supposed to be competitive whatsoever. For reference, the Patriots have the longest price to win a division of any team in the league, which is remarkable considering the plus 165 price on the Buffalo Bills is the longest number of any division favorite. So what's supposed to be a great race here between Buffalo, New York, and Miami, the books are even more positive that New England Patriots have no chance to get themselves involved in said race. It's kind of hard to disagree. We're going to go over to this Major League Baseball board here. As I mentioned, Schwarber. Any juice in Baltimore tonight? We'll let you know on the other side. Live on SportsGrid.
This property runs this community. A lot of people from this community work here. They're proud of this. This has got a lot of history here. And then when you think about the beauty with the hills, the mountains, the trees, the water.
One thing about this place is one of the words he kept saying, family. It's a place that when my family, everyone comes, they treat you like family. They treat you like you're one of their own. And it's, obviously when you look at the place, you look at the rooms, everything, it's like taking a step back in time. And I think that's an absolutely amazing place to be able to put your phone down and slow everything down. I mean, the world these days is so fast. Everything has to get done so quickly. And every time I've come here with my family at Greenbrier, it's like everything stops and it's slow motion. You actually get to enjoy life, enjoy your time with family.
Just this place feels like I'm a kid again. You get out here, you see nature, you see the trails, you see going on a hike. I grew up in Fresno. We go up to the mountains every once in a while, and that's just kind of what it feels like a little bit. Obviously, it's more forested here and whatnot, but the 58, I don't know how to explain it. Just kind of semi-blacked out, you can kind of say. It was one of those moments where the last 4 holes, I was obviously trying to win a tournament, but it started to rain, and I just kept focusing on my game. I didn't get outside of this bubble that I created with myself. I just wanted to focus on hitting the next best shot. And I think that's what really pushed me on to focusing on, obviously winning the tournament, but to shoot in the 50s and then ultimately make the 40-footer on the last hole for 58. That was just the cherry on top. And what a special moment, a special place in my heart forever, and probably one of the most special moments in my entire life.
All right, let's make it happen, folks. Live with you here still on this Thursday night. We have Coach James Young right around the corner. Great to talk to JY. First time in a while. We were 2 ships passing in the night out there in Saratoga the other weekend. We didn't get to link up, but I know he was in the mix with the Olympics. I was as well. Will I bring up the Olympics? Maybe. Probably not. The NBA schedule, though, did come out. I just want to see if there's any of those opening lines that caught his eye. We'll get there with the NBA. Let's just quickly do a little bit of the baseball here. What we have for you, it starts with Baltimore and Boston. with the Red Sox, and I talk about the Schwarber pick. I'm on the Schwarber pick. That's the only thing I really locked in right now. If that changes, I'll let you know, but obviously that's kind of where I am. With the Red Sox, this is a team that I've actually talked about favorably as it pertains to their chance to sneak up on the rest of the American League if they were able to get into the postseason. If you look at their AL price right now, that's 26-1. I don't want to say a tier of their own, but it's floating, right? They're not these bomb, no chance they make it, Rangers, Angels, A's numbers. But even that, they're still well behind Kansas City and more than a full, 14-1 Seattle, 26-1 Boston, and in the middle is Kansas City. So there's a big gap there. But one of the things about Boston is some of the pitchers that I feel we would look to, that I've at least thought, hey, if that guy gets in the postseason, you got to be cautious, man. That guy could really make some noise, could really be special for the Red Sox in the postseason. For Tanner Houck, you could still make that argument somewhat, even though he has the occasional blow-up. Cutter Crawford stunk now for a little bit. Here's Cutter Crawford's last 5. 6 earned, 5 earned, 5 earned, 6 earned, 4 earned. What is that? 6 earned runs, 5 earned runs, 5, 6, 4. It's been bad for Cutter Crawford. And Nick Pivetta, it's not been smooth, man. I mean, it's been up and down. You take Nick Pivetta since the very back end of June. 5 earned, 7 scoreless, 1 hit baseball. 4 earned against Oakland in a loss. 6 shutout innings against the Dodgers, followed by getting destroyed at Coors Field. It's been solid-ish in his last 2, 5 earned runs combined over about 11 innings of baseball. But this Red Sox team, and we know the lineup can be dangerous, but I look at them tonight in a Zach Eflin, Nick Pivetta matchup. And Pivetta is a guy that I've wanted to bet on coming into the year. And again, I know things have kind of fluctuated with Pivetta. But I saw the number tonight on Baltimore. I go, that's fine. Zach Eflin, I think that's an okay price for him at home here against this Red Sox team. I really do. I was a little surprised by. And I didn't get involved with this game. Interestingly enough, the guy I would have wanted to bet was Eloy Jimenez. But he's not in the lineup tonight. I will give a quick shout-out to Gunnar Henderson, who finally hit his 30th home run yesterday. First time in ages. He went deep. It came with 2 RBIs, so now he's on 71 for this season. I mentioned I'm involved with Kyle Schwarber. All the Bryce Harper numbers make sense, but I'm not paying for hits, runs, RBIs. The optimal lineup spot for me is first. That's that is the slot in the order that I would pay the most for. Kyle Schwarber has, this season against lefties, better numbers than Bryce, which is, again, awesome that these two guys both have reverse splits. Schwarber has 10 extra at-bats than Bryce Harper. It's led to 2 more home runs, 4 more RBIs, and a batting average of .333 compared to .301 for Bryce. Bryce isn't a slouch in this instance. Schwarber's better. He's batting first. So I just played Schwarber. And instead of playing them both, I took basically what would be, a unit on each. I went just 2 on Schwarber. Because I'm getting -115 on the leadoff man. But if you want to play Bryce for an RBI, it makes a lot of sense. It really does. If you could parlay at run RBI, I know some books you can. On DK you can't. I don't think that's a mistake if you wanted to. Late night, it's Cody Bradford and Bailey Ober. I don't love this game. I really don't. The one thing I would say is these pitchers are about even. And while I know the full season record shines on Minnesota a little bit better, home road splits, the Rangers are a better home team slightly than the Twins are a road team. It made me play. I would take the home dog, short price, albeit, on the Texas Rangers. But that's where we're at with the remaining baseball slate here. It's a quick break. Up next, we get Coach James Young back here for the first time in a little bit, man. Talk some WNBA with JY. 3-game slate. The second half of this season gets underway. Get his breakdown next.
This property runs this community. A lot of people from this community work here. They're proud of this. This has got a lot of history here. And then when you think about the beauty with the hills, the mountains, the trees, the water.
One thing about this place is one of the words he kept saying, family. It's a place that when my family and everyone comes, they treat you like family. They treat you like you're one of their own. And it's, obviously when you look at the place, you look at the rooms, everything, it's like taking a step back in time. And I think that's an absolutely amazing place to be able to put your phone down and slow everything down. I mean, the world these days is so fast. Everything has to get done so quickly. And every time I've come here with my family at Greenbrier, it's like everything stops and it's slow motion. You actually get to enjoy life, enjoy your time with family.
Just this place feels like I'm a kid again. You get out here and you see nature, you see the trails, you see going on a hike. I grew up in Fresno. We go up to the mountains every once in a while, and that's just kind of what it feels like a little bit. Obviously, it's more forested here and whatnot, but the 58, I don't know how to explain it, just kind of semi-blacked out, you can kind of say. It was one of those moments where the last 4 holes, I was obviously trying to win a tournament, but it started to rain, and I just kept focusing on my game. I didn't get outside of this bubble that I created with myself. I just wanted to focus on hitting the next best shot. And I think that's what really pushed me on to focusing on obviously winning the tournament, but to shoot in the 50s and then ultimately make the 40-footer on the last hole for 58. That was just the cherry on top. And what a special moment, a special place in my heart forever, and probably one of the most special moments in my entire life.
Back with you right here, live on SportsGrid, man. We got the baseball board, which is about to start here, and we've got a WNBA slate that is going to be taking center stage tonight, I think, for a lot of people, as well as, of course, some NFL action. Let's talk W with Coach James Young. JY, how are you, sir?
The W stands for the WNBA, not the Wu-Tang Clan. We back. Second half here. Caleb, I didn't see you in Saratoga. I haven't talked, what's going on? I thought we were buddies. We were running each other around at the same racetrack on Saturday? Come on now.
Oh, come on now. I feel like we're the best of pals, JY. It's out of my control. Also, JY was saying, listen, let me tell you this right now, all right? JY was hanging out in exclusive spots that you can only get VIP access to. He was keeping me at arm's distance, and I know it, but I'll leave it be. JY, I want to get into this. Before we go to a specific game, and I want to start with the women who played for Team USA. Do you look at it as a situation where they are in rhythm, or they might be a little tired? Because, let's be honest, it ended up being a taxing run to win gold for Team USA's women's team.
Yeah, and I think here's the thing, folks. They played Sunday. Closing ceremony Sunday night. That means they flew home Monday. And anybody that's been to Europe or even been across the country, that's jet lag. So to me, part of the things I'm looking at, folks, is based off of teams that had a lot of players in the Olympics. Hint, hint. That's why we'll get to the picks a little bit. I'm fading a certain team right off the jump. Why? They had 3 Olympians on the team. So to me, I'm looking at these teams that had a lot of rest, right? These young players, I want to see Angel Reese the second half of the year, right? I want to see Camila Cardoso the second half of the year. I want to see Caitlin Clark in the second half of the year. I want to see Aaliyah Edwards the second half of the year. Why, folks? Simply put, I'm a college coach. I'll give you a rundown right now. 6 weeks from the opening game of the season starts what we call the 20 hours. 32 out of 42 days you get scrimmage and or practice before your first game. What does that mean? That means Cardoso, Clark, Edwards, Reese, they were going nonstop from the last Tuesday in September all the way to the end of the season, right, Kevin? Then they get drafted 2 days later, and they're in WNBA training camp. I am looking at teams that are younger to start to make moves a little bit because I think they're going to be fresher out the gate than the teams that had a lot of ladies with the Olympics.
So I think it's really interesting, and I think it's hard to tell, right? And the truth of it is that this is gambling, right? You got to pick your narrative because there's no, and JY gives it to us from as much experience as possible, right? But at the end of the day, does Diana Taurasi show up with a little fire? Because ultimately, look, man, Taurasi didn't belong on the roster. We saw it play out. She ended up not only losing her starting spot, she ended up really getting benched for that team. Or is Diana Taurasi aware she was there as a legacy, which is okay, and she's happy she won gold? That's possible as well. Tonight, Sabrina Ionescu, she won gold. In her minutes, she was good. Sab didn't play as much as she should have. I think that Sabrina Ionescu should have started as that tournament went on over Chelsea Gray. But that's not what we saw. But JY, and I see you wanted to, like, how do we think that leads to Sabrina tonight chasing shots?
I don't know, but you went there, and I went right. I'm going right down the rabbit hole with you. The coaching job by Cheryl Reeve was an absolute embarrassment. Embarrassment. Besides the first game against Japan, and even Kevin and I were talking on the phone. The first comments were like, "Yo, Chelsea Gray, we're gonna get her out of here. She don't look ready." And of course, she had 13 assists. They were so much better when Chelsea Gray was off the floor. That's number one. Number two, Nafisha Collier is a 4/5 in the WNBA. They played her as a 3. Why? Well, her coach was in the WNBA was the coach of the Olympic team. How you doing? They figured out Taurasi. They sat her. I got it. But to me, and I watched the gold medal game, the whole thing, every minute, and I watched it a second time. Sabrina Ionescu doesn't come until midway through the third quarter. 40-35. No one talks about when she checked in the game flipped. She didn't score a point, Kevin. She got us into offense. She got 3 assists, 2 other plays that led to assists as well. Fourth quarter, simply put, Cheryl Reeve, number one, I'm going Ionescu. I'm going Kalia Copper. People may think I'm crazy. I'm putting Taurasi as the 3 because all I need her to do is stand in the corner because then they're going to have to stick with her. And I'm going with Stewie and Asia Wilson. But then the biggest blunder of blunders, and anybody who watches basketball know where I'm going with this. We're up 4. Ball comes in. Gabby Williams gets a screen. We don't switch. We don't get up on her. I don't care if she shot the ball 30 feet. You funnel her to the basket. Why? Because there's a 2-point game instead of a 3-point game. Or a 2-point game instead of a 1-point game. But that's not the one that really bothered me, Kevin, as much as this one. We're up 1. Plum hits 2 free throws. You don't have someone at the scorer's table to check in the game. Why? To get matched up. If you watch that last possession closely, don't watch it, folks. They get the ball in. We're not matched up. They get a clean shot. It's Kevin Durant versus the Bucks part 2. And I'm going to say it right now. People may think I'm crazy. If Gabby Williams hits that shot a foot back and it's a 3, Kevin, we lose that game in overtime. We were dead in the water in the third quarter. We come all the way back, take a 2-3 position lead, and if we would have blown it, France would have had all the momentum and they would have stole the gold.
I had a feeling at some point Coach was going to let it fly. I know that game happened Sunday, but obviously JY has had a lot to say about how that played out. What I'll say, because then we're going to get into these games and we're going to give you the picks, is it became very obvious, right, that they made a mistake with the roster construction early on in the tournament. But ultimately, they won gold. That was great. Shout out Aja Wilson and Breanna Stewart, who are not just the 2 best players in the league,
They are two of the greatest players in the history of the WNBA. Now, where things sit right now on tonight's WNBA slate is it a 3-game board. Here are your updated numbers. Before we get into everything with Coach, we're going to do that after your commercial break. The Phoenix Mercury are a 5-point favorite on the Chicago Sky. Totals down to 162.5. I'm on 166.5 under. I was going to look to bet this at 165.5 under. Part of the reason that I did play that under was wondering, what if Carter misses the game or isn't 100%? She actually had an ankle injury, though. So the fact that she missed it for a separate reason, kind of got lucky, quote-unquote, if you will, with that scenario. You can still play under, but maybe just be a little bit cautious because the under that I played at 166.5 is now 4 points better than what the current 162.5 number is. Lynx, 8-point favorites on the Washington Mystics, total 156.5. I'm not in on that game at the moment. I am involved with the Liberty and the Sparks at 11.5-point favorite number for New York and a 165.5 listed total. I'm on Sabrina Ionescu under 20.5 points. I'm on Rickea Jackson of the Sparks over 11.5 points. Rickea Jackson in the month of July, 6 games, 15.5 points per game, over in 5 out of 6, despite shooting 41% from the floor. The volume is there for the rookie, who I think is going to surprise some people in the second half of that season. We're going to get coaches' picks on the other side. Keep it right here. It's Game Time Decisions on SportsGrid.
This property runs this community. A lot of people from this community work here. They're proud of this. This has got a lot of history here. And then when you think about the beauty with the hills, the mountains, the trees, the water.
One thing about this place is one of the words he kept saying, family. It's a place that when my family, everyone comes, they treat you like family. They treat you like you're one of their own. And it's, obviously when you look at the place, you look at the rooms, everything, it's like taking a step back in time. And I think that's an absolutely amazing place to be able to put your phone down and slow everything down. I mean, the world these days is so fast. Everything has to get done so quickly. And every time I've come here with my family at Greenbrier, it's like everything stops and it's slow motion. You actually get to enjoy life, enjoy your time with family.
Just this place feels like I'm a kid again. You get out here and you see nature, you see the trails, you see going on a hike. I grew up in Fresno. We go up to the mountains every once in a while, and that's just kind of what it feels like a little bit. And obviously it's more forested here and whatnot, but the 58, I don't know how to explain it, just kind of semi-blacked out, you can kind of say. It was one of those moments where the last 4 holes, I was obviously trying to win a tournament, but it started to rain, and I just kept focusing on my game. I didn't get outside of this bubble that I created with myself. I just wanted to focus on hitting the next best shot. And I think that's what really pushed me on to focusing on, obviously winning the tournament, but to shoot in the 50s and then ultimately make the 40-footer on the last hole for 58. That was just the cherry on top. And what a special moment, a special place in my heart forever, and probably one of the most special moments in my entire life.
Underway right here, Game Time Decisions. We're with Coach James Young. JY, let's make it happen and put some picks on the board. Sky Mercury, 5-point line here. Total checking in 162.5. What do you like in this game?
If you think about what I just said, I'm gonna go with the team that had a little bit more rest, a little bit more motivation. Kennedy Carter was just named the 24th best player in the WNBA. She's gonna be in a bad mood, and I like the Sky plus the points. This is a team that is going to be fighting for a playoff spot here. And I just think they're getting too many points at home. I could see them winning this game outright. I am concerned about the jet lag of particularly both Taurasi and Brittany Griner being older players. And obviously, the job that I thought that Teresa Weatherspoon has done with the Chicago Sky, give me the Chicago Sky plus its points at home tonight.
Jay, I'm sorry. I just want to ask you, though, but Kennedy Carter's out tonight. And I don't know how much that changes things for you, but that's a non-COVID illness there, and that's why that number's ballooned up to 5.
That's probably why. I wonder why it was just moved up in the last point and a half. And then that gives a little bit of concern because you have to look at the fact of not just losing Kennedy Carter, but also losing Marina Mabry, who was just traded literally right at the deadline. I still think that they will muck this game up enough. I think you look at a girl like Camila Cardozo, who's the only person that can literally look at Brittany Griner eye to eye. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Cardozo is 6'7", the Griner 6'8". And I think Angel Reese gets busy. I'm still going to take the points. I still think they have a chance. It'll be a little bit more difficult, but I do think they keep this game close enough that they may be able to steal it. I'm going to take the points still with Chicago.
All right, Coach, what about Minnesota and Washington? And Fisha Collier plays her first game in a Lynx uniform in a while. She missed the last 5 games of Minnesota basketball before that break. She hasn't played for Minnesota since the 4th of July. What do you like here?
I'm going to do something that I'm starting to do more of, which is play quarters. And I think what I'm concerned, Kevin, that I may get a slow start from Minnesota. Yet, remember, not just Fisha Collier being a part of the team, but they have a couple other players, international, that were part of the team, that were part of other teams. And Cheryl Reeve coached the USA national team. So I think a little bit of slow start. Folks, -2.5 third quarter spread. Minnesota is usually very good defensively in the third quarter. They adjust really well at halftime. I can even see Washington maybe playing with the lead early on. I'm going to take the Minnesota Lynx third quarter on FanDuel -2.5 at -102 to win the third quarter by 3+ points.
All right, so some love there in that game for Washington. JY, late night, we have the Liberty and the Sparks here. 11.5 is the spread, 164.5, 165.5 for this listed total. What do you see here out in L.A.?
It was at 27.5. I jumped in, but you can still get it at 28.5. That's Jonquel Jones PRA over 28.5. If you look closely at Jonquel Jones this season, I think she got to 29 and 37 against him. I was thinking about the double-double market with Jonquel because I think it was about even money or plus money. I'm just not going to go there. I'm just going with Jonquel Jones PRA because, listen, she's going to rebound the ball tonight, right? Because you have to keep Hamby off the boards. Then you look at the fact that I think they struggle to stop her scoring. And if you get any kind of rust, or I would just say jet lag from Ionescu and Stewie, Jonquel is the one that benefits the most. They may run the offense through her a little bit. Give me Jonquel Jones over 28.5 points, rebounds, assists.
All right, some love there for Jonquel Jones. JY, one quick question for you here, just with tomorrow's W slate. And I'm sure that you'll be, at somewhere on the network getting involved with the people, but what are the expectations for you as it pertains to the Indiana Fever? 11-15, but we know they started to play much better as the year went along, and it's going to be the first time we've seen Caitlin Clark play basketball in a long time. You always mentioned how the college season, almost going immediately into that W season, was a lot. What do you expect for Caitlin Clark in the second half?
I expect her to play really, really well. She really came on strong. The break wasn't good to her. I know she went to a couple of Yankee games, hung out, Aaron Judge, superstar she is. Folks, 2 things I saw, and they're still up on FanDuel. I'm taking both of them for the special. Caitlin Clark to make 1+ made 3 in every game in the WNBA. Kevin, I think she has 4, I think it's 2 or 4 games where she made 1. Every other game she made 2+. I think she gets there, and that's going to go into my other part was 4-1 to lead the league in 3. She's 5 behind Kayla McBride. Here's the thing. McBride, she's going to come back to the pack a little bit because at some point Diamond Miller's going to come back. She's ahead of her. Ionescu has to deal with Stewie and obviously Jonquel and Bernard Delaney Hamilton, other scores. Then you look at Arika Wumbawale, Maddie Segrist back soon, Satu Sabli back. Less shots for her. I like Caitlin Clark to lead the WNBA in 3-pointers made at 4-1, and I think this team will go over their team win total. I think they were going to play really well down the stretch. And I think they're looking at it as, I think they look at New York, probably not New York, but everyone else. Maybe if they can find a way to get to 6, they could beat some teams in the WNBA playoffs because, Kevin, she's going to steal a game by herself. She's going to be really, really good. I do think they make a little bit of run. I like their team win total over for the Indiana Fever.
I will say, though, because it would be a mistake if we didn't, we're going to talk some NBA scheduling. Just WNBA, awesome that they immediately remind us, hey, when it comes to scheduling, we're kind of not sure what to do. Here's the Phoenix Mercury on a back-to-back right out of the gate. And here are the Vegas Aces, nowhere to be found. I do not know who has constructed this Vegas schedule. They never play. And for anyone who says, oh, but they're going to play Saturday, big game against the Liberty. Yeah, but the Liberty are playing tonight. Why are the Vegas Aces not playing tonight? It's your first game back in a long time. Why is Caitlin not playing tonight? Where's Vegas? You're lucky this guy drafted Angel Reese. Jay, I don't want to get you started. Jay, I know. We're going to take a quick break. All right? We're going to take a quick break. We get back. Let's just put some eyeballs on that NBA schedule that was dropped. Knicks on Christmas. Knicks opening night. Lakers on Christmas. Lakers opening night. Is that who's going to play in the NBA Finals? No. Maybe. We'll talk about it.
This property runs this community. A lot of people from this community work here. They're proud of this. This has got a lot of history here. And then when you think about the beauty with the hills, the mountains, the trees, the water.
One thing about this place is one of the words he kept saying, family. It's a place that when my family and everyone comes, they treat you like family. They treat you like you're one of their own. And it's, obviously when you look at the place, you look at the rooms, everything, it's like taking a step back in time. And I think that's an absolutely amazing place to be able to put your phone down and slow everything down. I mean, the world these days is so fast. Everything has to get done so quickly. And every time I've come here with my family at Greenbrier, it's like everything stops and it's slow motion. You actually get to enjoy life, enjoy your time with family.
Just this place feels like I'm a kid again. You get out here and you see nature, you see the trails, you see going on a hike. I grew up in Fresno. We go up to the mountains every once in a while, and that's just kind of what it feels like a little bit. And obviously it's more forested here and whatnot, but the 58, I don't know how to explain it, just kind of semi-blacked out, you can kind of say. It was one of those moments where the last 4 holes, I was obviously trying to win a tournament, but it started to rain, and I just kept focusing on my game. I didn't get outside of this bubble that I created with myself. I just wanted to focus on hitting the next best shot. And I think that's what really pushed me on to focusing on, obviously winning the tournament, but to shoot in the 50s and then ultimately make the 40-foot on the last hole for 58. That was just the cherry on top. And what a special moment, a special place in my heart forever, and probably one of the most special moments of my entire life.
All right, we're live right here on SportsGrid. It's 3-0 Phils. Me and my big mouth, Kyle Schwarber. First man up, out. Next 3 batters go base hit. Alec, boom! Home run. That's 3-0. 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs for Bryce Harper's a winner. Schwarber, we're going to be waiting, but it's okay. Nerfy came in Baltimore and Boston. Late night, don't forget, 8 o'clock. It's Texas, it's Minnesota. We got the NFL preseason action tonight with some NFL news. We've got Joe Lisi around the corner for you, so keep it right here with Game Time Decisions. But, JY, I figure we steal a little bit of extra time here to mention the NBA schedule that was released. And it's the full schedule now. There's a lot of game lines that have been posted. My question to you, is there any game line that has really stood out to you from what we've seen from the sports books with this NBA schedule?
Not as of yet. I didn't do a deep dive because I was just so, honestly, Kevin, impressed with what I saw in regards to how they did the scheduling. I mean, WNBA, whoever does the NBA schedule, go do the WNBA schedule too. Because these guys Kevin likes this. It's like, you know what it is, Kevin? Cinema. That's what we got. We got pure cinema to start the NBA season. So, yeah, hey, listen, Boston minus 5.5, don't touch it. Hey, Kevin, LeBron, opening night, plus the point. Kevin.
Whoa.
He's on -1. It's +1 I see right now on FanDuel. I'm going the Lakers on the money line to win opening night. I think LeBron gets off to a good start. I absolutely love it. And then, oh yeah, picks are. I'm looking. I'm doing this live as I talk to you. But also another tricky game, Orlando, Miami. This is the second night. I think this is going to be a really intriguing game. I like this Orlando team. I think it takes the next jump up. I'm worried about Miami being a year older. I think the Jimmy Butler nonsense is going to rear its ugly head. I also like the Magic on the money line opening night on Wednesday, I think that is, to win in Miami.
For me, what I wanted to see is how the Celtics numbers looked, as we know that the Boston Celtics are viewed as the best team in basketball. You look at those NBA title odds, 3-1 on Boston. The next number is more than double that. It's Oklahoma City at 7-1. And the next closest number in the Eastern Conference is triple that, with both Philly and New York at 9-1. You'll notice opening night, the look-ahead line has Boston laying 5.5 to the Knicks. And you look ahead, there's a 4.5 number to the 76ers. And what's interesting when you see those numbers is, again, Boston will be favored against anybody that they play in Boston, of course. But last year, pretty much the shortest Boston number as the season went along, 8.5. When Denver stopped by, when the Clippers were rolling and came through, Giannis, if he had it going, that's really the shortest number you saw. So, again, we're seeing a Boston 4.5 here to Philly. I think that would suggest that Oklahoma City would be 3.5, Denver 4. I think those are interesting numbers because those would then suggest while Boston is the best team in basketball, they don't view Boston as good as they viewed last year's. Now, again, those are early takeaways from numbers that are assigned to games ways out. But that was something I wanted to see, is how they were booking the best team coach in the sport against any other competition.
I also think, Kevin, this could be the fact that I think people, at least they are, high on New York and Philadelphia, as they should be. Paul George, obviously, going to Philadelphia. We talk about the Knicks getting Mikal Bridges to line up with OG Anunoby to take on obviously Tatum and Brown, and you know and I know Tibbs may play his starters 45 minutes opening night. And there could be a little bit of a hangover, for Boston with the championship ceremony. But it's interesting because you see that, but then you go to game 2 that I found Boston plays 2 nights later against the Wizards, and they're minus 13.5 points favorites on the road. So I think that may have more to do with who they're playing, and maybe the fact that they're high on New York and Philly, maybe trying to make a statement early in the season, than overall the take on Boston. I think it has more to do with the opponent than the Celtics.
I think it's going to be really interesting, man, as the season creeps closer. Are we going to get any more moves that could potentially change the market? Odds would suggest no. But appreciate Coach James Young coming by. Up next, Thursday Night Football. Eagles,
football,
Patriots.
Who?
JY, can you, if you do it in 4 seconds, you're allowed to give out an NFL pick. Go ahead.
Jets winning the Super Bowl. Run to the window. Take it.
You know what? Never again. You may never see Coach again on this show. Joe Lisi's next.
This property runs this community. A lot of people from this community work here. They're proud of this. This has got a lot of history here. And then when you think about the beauty with the hills, the mountains, the trees, the water.
One thing about this place is one of the words he kept saying, family. It's a place that when my family and everyone comes, they treat you like family. They treat you like you're one of their own. And it's, obviously when you look at the place, you look at the rooms, everything, it's like taking a step back in time. And I think that's an absolutely amazing place to be able to put your phone down and slow everything down. I mean, the world these days is so fast. Everything has to get done so quickly. And every time I've come here with my family at Greenbrier, it's like everything stops and it's slow motion. You actually get to enjoy life, enjoy your time with family.
Just this place feels like I'm a kid again. You get out here and you see nature, you see the trails, you see going on a hike. I grew up in Fresno. We go up to the mountains every once in a while, and that's just kind of what it feels like a little bit. Obviously, it's more forested here and whatnot, but the 58, I don't know how to explain it. Just kind of semi-blacked out, you can kind of say. It was one of those moments where the last 4 holes, I was obviously trying to win a tournament, but it started to rain, and I just kept focusing on my game. I didn't get outside of this bubble that I created with myself. I just wanted to focus on hitting the next best shot. And I think that's what really pushed me on to focusing on obviously winning the tournament, but to shoot in the 50s and then ultimately make the 40-foot on the last hole for 58. That was just the cherry on top. And what a special moment, a special place in my heart forever, and probably one of the most special moments in my entire life.
It's game time decisions. I'll be honest. If you see this smile, you should be able to tell it's a different smile, man. It means Joe Lisi's here. Joe, it's great to see you. We're live on a Thursday night. Eagles are playing. How you feeling?
I feel good, Kev. I altered the over already. There's a little rain in the forecast in Foxborough.
Boom.
Down from 35 and a half to 33 and a half. All the trends point to New England and the under. I'm going contrarian. Give me points. A little Will Greer, maybe Tanner McKee. How about that? Maybe a little Kenny Pickett in your life.
Are you worried they'll put the phone call in like they did 2 weeks ago when they canceled that preseason game on you with the weather between the Hall of Fame game?
Yes, I am worried. Anytime, but the good thing is, and I like this, and you're the same way, is that all last week over the weekend we saw dead unders. A majority of those games hit to the under. So now we're poised on a Thursday night. The trend is your friend. The first Thursday night game went over. I'm going over tonight, especially now with the discount.
All right, you're feeling good about it. I am on the Eagles in this game +3. I think the Pats are being just a little overinflated here. Philly got to win in Baltimore in a preseason game as a favorite. Now catching 3. I like the Eagles in this spot. Joe, let's zoom out. Big picture here for a second. The Philadelphia Eagles were a team that you had a lot of love for last year. And as the year went along, this team unraveled, ending in a disastrous performance in the postseason against the Bucs. The offseason's been interesting. I think a lot of people felt their draft went great, getting both Quinyon Mitchell out of Toledo and Cooper DeJean out of Iowa. They were able to bring in Saquon Barkley. They did lose Jason Kelsey and Fletcher Cox to retirement. Some interesting reports around the relationship between Hurts and Nick Sirianni, who did keep his job, despite a lot of conversations about whether he would or not. I don't know if we definitively know that everything's been smoothed over between Hurts and Sirianni, but again, it's been a busy offseason in Philadelphia, Joe. As we sit here on August 15th, how do you feel about this group?
I still feel good, Kev. I mean, everything is in place in terms of the foundation, especially from an offensive perspective. Jalen Hurts is a dual threat. We didn't see him run in terms of the second half of the regular season. You bring a dual threat running back in terms of Saquon Barkley that can catch the football out of the backfield. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith are there. I think everything is going to be fine from an offensive perspective, and I think Vic Fangio is a slight upgrade from where Patricia and that defensive staff were at the end of the year. The biggest thing I think Vic Fangio will bring Philadelphia is the physicality back in terms of the front seven. Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, they fell apart in the second half of the regular season after they started 10-1. Let's not forget, they knocked off Kansas City in Arrowhead earlier in the year. They were a very good football team, but just broke down mentally, I believe, in terms of the locker room. That's on Sirianni, but I think they rebounded a big way, and I think they are, when you look at the NFC odds, everybody's looking San Fran, everybody's looking Dan Campbell in Detroit. I think Philly's right there for the taking at 550, 6-1 on multiple books.
You know, I think one of the big selling points on the Philadelphia Eagles for me is the coordinators. And I don't know, look, Fangio, I think everybody's kind of in on. I'm excited by what Kellen Moore can bring for the Eagles. The only worry thing that I have about Kellen Moore is that this is going to lead to him leaving and becoming a head coach. Because Hurts just every year, I mean, it's a new coordinator, whether it's positive or negative, and I hope that that isn't the case here. That's just the pure Eagles fan talking, but I think this team did really, really well as it pertains to the coordinators that they brought in to put alongside Nick Sirianni, who has been unbelievably successful with the Philadelphia Eagles. I know that he's rubbed people the wrong way, but he's been excellent since he's been with the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's not forget this team was in the Super Bowl, man, not all that long ago. Across the field, though, Joe, it's year one Gerard Mayo. It's rookie quarterback Drake May that we don't expect to get the ball to start the year, but I'm sure many expect him at some point to get the ball. What do you expect, if anything, from this New England Patriots group?
Not much, Kevin. I think they're definitely under their 4.5 win total. I think this year is a major rebuild. You have to weed out the players that fit the scheme, don't fit the scheme. And for Gerard Mayo, he needs to separate himself from the legendary coach in terms of Bill Belichick, just the way Kalen DeBoer does in Alabama with Nick Saban. You have to establish your philosophy offensively and defensively. You have to find out if Drake May is the face of the franchise sooner rather than later. I understand they want to go with Jacoby Brissett early. That's fine. But if I was Gerard Mayo, I would throw in Drake May into the fire early. That's something that the Jets found out with Zach Wilson and Sam Darnold early. San Francisco found out in terms of Trey Lance. You want to make that assessment sooner rather than later. And just because the offensive line is weak and there's limited playmakers on the offensive side of the ball, I want to see Drake May make those players better around them. But unfortunately, it's a major rebuild. Under the 4.5, they have a number out there for them to be winless this year at 37-1. I think it's a possibility, and the worst record in regards to the NFL at 3-1. Again, that's not wins and losses aren't important this year. Getting the players that fit the scheme to be ready for year number 2 is what matters.
So tell me, Joe, because this is kind of what I was going to ask you, and you kind of led me right to it then. Last year, this is how you attacked the Arizona Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think this Patriots team compares? Do you think they are just as bad? Do you think they're worse potentially than that Arizona team?
Yes. Yes, and I was very critical of Gannon in terms of year number 1. But the biggest thing for me is that he took that talent, Kev, and he elevated them. Look at what Arizona did in regards to just the NFC East. They knocked off Dallas as a 12.5-point dog. They knocked off Philadelphia in their house at the end of the regular season as an 11.5-point dog. Push Daniel Jones to the limit as well. These are better teams, above average teams, at least in the NFC, at least 2 out of the 3, and they went toe-to-toe with them. James Conner is there. You now have Marvin Harrison Jr. He wasn't there last year, but they still had better wide receiver talent than what you're seeing in terms of New England this year, when you can make the argument Hunter Henry is the best option for that offense right now.
And a lot of it, too, is tied to you're not big on Drake May.
No.
Right? I mean, I think that's kind of the thing last year where you probably to some degree got burned. Is Kyler Murray checked in and put 3 wins on the table for this team.
Right.
Before Arizona's season started, people thought it was on the board Kyler didn't take the field. Right? You know, and so I'm just, not to give out your handicap, right? But I am sure that you weren't banking on Kyler getting the job back by week 10. Again, that was a 1-8 football team. You know, I'm not saying that we need to give Kyler Murray worlds of credit for going 3-5, but yeah, I mean, that's pretty impressive considering how garbage they were the week prior. For you, if anything, and this is where I don't want to put words in your mouth, but Joe and I talk a lot. You probably hope Brissett loses the job sooner than later, and they put the UNC kid in there.
Yeah, and the biggest thing for me is Drake May has the intangibles, right? He's got the size. Yeah. He has a strong arm. The problem that I have with Drake May is look at the top 10 or the better defenses that he faced in terms of his tenure in Chapel Hill, right? He struggled in back-to-back games against Clemson's defense. Lost an ACC championship 2 years ago, 39-10. He struggled last year in Death Valley on the road, only completed 44% of his passes. Lost to NC State, a 9-3 football team last year. He completed 50% of his passes and threw 2 interceptions. You can't do that. It's incomparable when you look at what Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels did in terms of their college careers and what Drake May did in terms of North Carolina. There's no comparison. So that's why I'm down on Drake May, but we'll see how it plays out this regular season.
Now, I will say we've got Joe sticking around a little bit. Probably a good time to get his thoughts on the J.J. McCarthy news, what he thinks about Sam Darnold, but also to tie in the Patriots. The Falcons are a team that I know Joe has not been high on. I wonder if this Judon news and this Justin Simmons news changes anything. We'll get to that after the break. Pats did start with the football, a 3-and-out. Is going to get the Eagles the ball here, but it's going to be tough field positioning right now. Is it time to buy the over? Maybe we'll ask Joe about that as well. We're here with you right now. It's Game Time Decisions on SportsGrid.
This property runs this community. A lot of people from this community work here. They're proud of this. This has got a lot of history here. And then when you think about the beauty with the hills, the mountains, the trees, the water.
One thing about this place is one of the words he kept saying, family. It's a place that when my family, everyone comes, they treat you like family. They treat you like you're one of their own. And it's, obviously when you look at the place, you look at the rooms, everything, it's like taking a step back in time. And I think that's an absolutely amazing place to be able to put your phone down and slow everything down. I mean, the world these days is so fast. Everything has to get done so quickly. And every time I've come here with my family at Greenbrier, it's like everything stops and it's slow motion. You actually get to enjoy life, enjoy your time with family.
Just this place feels like I'm a kid again. You get out here and you see nature, you see the trails, you see going on a hike. I grew up in Fresno. We go up to the mountains every once in a while, and that's just kind of what it feels like a little bit. Obviously, it's more forested here and whatnot, but the 58, I don't know how to explain it, just kind of semi-blacked out, you can kind of say. It was one of those moments where the last 4 holes, I was obviously trying to win a tournament, but it started to rain, and I just kept focusing on my game. I didn't get outside of this bubble that I created with myself. I just wanted to focus on hitting the next best shot. And I think that's what really pushed me on to focusing on, obviously winning the tournament, but to shoot in the 50s and then ultimately make the 40-foot on the last hole for 58. That was just the cherry on top. And what a special moment, a special place in my heart forever, and probably one of the most special moments in my entire life.
All right, honored to have Joe Lisi with us here for the time he can make available. Big episode, I'm sure, tonight, Carver and Lisi. What do you usually do on a Thursday night on Carver and Lisi, Joe?
Well, it's big. Baseball overs. We have limited action. I'm on this Twin Texas Ranger over here. A couple of gas cans over the 8.5. We altered it up to
this barely
11.5 with the NFL total. Points. I got to come into the weekend with points, Kevin. And then the golf.
NFL total's 33.5 right now. So what number do you have in that game? You got to throw every number, huh?
I altered it up. 10 points. If you love it at 33.5, you have to love it at 43.5.
Can I ask you? Let me ask you. I don't want the pick, but do you have your Week 1 best bet in the NFL already?
Yes.
Okay.
I can give
Is it a
out.
side or a total?
It's a side.
Yeah, great. No, good. Not good. Glad we're back to that. No lessons learned from last year.
Hey,
No
I won
lessons
week
learned.
1 with this side. I had the Rams last year, plus the 4.5.
I know. I know. I know you did, but the totals were hot. You didn't. You got greedy. Eagles minus the 3.5 alt. Lisi, tell me with this Minnesota, J.J. McCarthy's out. Darnold's going to have the job all year unless he's injured or loses it now, right? And if he loses it, that means things are nightmare. What's your outlook right now for the Minnesota Vikings?
I'm not as down on the Minnesota Vikings in regards to thinking that they're only going to win 3 games because J.J. McCarthy tore his meniscus. I really believe that at least Sam Darnold, as long as he doesn't turn the football over, and granted, I saw that play the other day in practice, he's a human turnover machine. That's always a question mark. But as long as he plays within the scheme, I think they can win 7-8 football games. Now, are they going to win the division and push Green Bay, my team, in terms of the NFC North? I don't believe so, but I don't think they're going to fall off a cliff, Kev. He's still experienced. O'Connell's a pretty good game planner, and you have Justin Jefferson, you have Hawkinson, you have Addison, and more importantly, you got Aaron Jones and Ty Chandler as it relates to the rushing attack. I don't think they're going to be as bad as people think, and I'm going to play them to the over with Darnold. So big picture, I think they need McCarthy to make an evaluation on him. But, I'm not worried that Sam Darnold is potentially the starter. I don't think it changes in terms of the wins and losses. I will say this, though. If I was the GM, let me ask you, you see Tom Brady saying he could still possibly play. Do you throw $20 million at him to see if he comes back? And if he does for 1 year, are they a contender like Atlanta at 11-1? I'm just saying.
So I feel like what I've seen from Tom, I wouldn't want to give up. I wouldn't confidently tell you Tom has nothing left. I just think the shape he stays in, I think he was kind of, I don't want to say thrown under the bus, but I thought some people who gave him the lion's share of the blame the final year in Tampa Bay was a little misguided. They still made the playoffs ultimately that season. I think the odd part of it is Tom comes in. Why couldn't you have already been able to get that done? I think that's what would bother me about that, Joe, right? Is you've been going down this Darnold pathway the whole time, and now on the fly I got to figure out Tom here. It's interesting, man. And I think the Brady situation is so odd. To retire, unretire, come back, retire, and seemingly not want to be done. I don't know. And I don't think he needed to be done. It's odd. Do you think he steps on an NFL field again?
I tell you what, if there's going to be a perfect scenario, it's with one of the best wide receivers in terms of Justin Jefferson. We know that he loves to utilize the tight end, and he's got one athletic in terms of Hawkinson. You have an above-average running game now with Aaron Jones. You have playmakers at every level, and assuming that Jordan Addison keeps his head on straight, you have a dynamic 1-2 punch. I mean, it's similar to the situation that Favre had when he made the run for Minnesota years ago. But again, and plus it's the NFC, right? So we talk about how jumbled the AFC is. If Tom's going to come back, it's potentially in a wide open NFC. And now you have playmakers at his disposal. I mean, it just seems plausible that there is that door. And why not take a shot at them at 85-1 right now in terms of the Super Bowl number? Assuming that maybe that's an option.
I think for Tom, if that window, if that's still open, he probably wants someone to do the legwork for him and swoop in week 10, week 11, quarterback goes down. Well, you know what, though? It's worth bringing up because it does let us know that when me, you, and Donnie are sat there on a Sunday, right, in November, we're going to be kicking Tom's name around probably. And it's not going to be because we're crazy. His name is going to get tossed around. It does not seem like he has any interest in doing this Fox job in the booth, even if I now think he's going to be pretty good at it. I don't know. It's tough. If you still feel like you can play, it is hard to walk away.
Well,
right?
I'll throw it out there. What if he misses the whole preseason? Tom, come there for week 1. Come there the week before week 1. What happened? Did we get something in this?
Oh,
What
red
happened?
zone
Fumble?
pick? Oh. Hey, listen, though. I tell you this. So you didn't see the red zone pick, or did you? Had you already seen
it. I'm ahead of you, and I saw a guy
Okay.
running, but I kept my head on the camera because I didn't want to stare at the computer right next to me to see what happened. Did he run it back?
Here's what I wanted.
Did he run it back?
I will tell you this. You have legitimate beef, I would say, with Avonte Maddox, to where if that wasn't a preseason game, I think he gets that thing at minimum inside the 25. He just proudly stepped out of bounds at the Birds' 45. I mean, he didn't even cross midfield. He walked out on his own, Joe. That's tough. I don't know.
Kenny Pickett, be the drive kid. Come on. Make us a believer, Kenny Pickett.
Total down at 30.5. Is it a bull market?
They're smashing it right now. I'm getting hit over the head with a frying pan, but that's okay. It's all right. We got to keep buying.
It's a buyer's market. I was seeing that the other week. This Bitcoin. But listen, we got to keep that off the air. People didn't like too many Bitcoin tweets from Lisi. So, look, we got to let you get out of here. I know you're a busy man. Big time Carver and Lisi tonight. Appreciate it. You and I will talk soon.
Anytime. Love the show, Kev.
My man, Joe Lisi, nobody better. We'll hit a break. We'll come back. We'll update all the boards and give you some legitimately big breaking news in Major League Baseball.
When it comes to betting on sports, injuries matter, and Sports Injury Central has you covered all year long with expert injury analysis and injury-based picks for the NFL, NBA, and MLB. Our former pro sports doctors have unmatched experience to analyze every injury so you know the impact of the player, team, and their upcoming matchup. Whether it's articles, podcasts, player insights, or our patented injury scores, Sports Injury Central will help you keep up with your fantasy team and make more informed wagers. So make sure you follow Sports Injury Central and gain an edge at sixscore.com.
What is the ceiling for this kid? Now that he's got the money, and we saw something click with him, what is the ceiling for a Jordan Love in this Green Bay team?
Deepest pass target group in the National Football League. 2 stud tight ends. They're a legit 5 deep at receiver. 7 bona fide pass targets, Gio. Come on, man. This guy could be a stud. Top 5 quarterback.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
The bottom of this field is a bunch of guys, quite frankly, that aren't on the tour, aren't on the DP tour, aren't on the Corn Ferry tour.
You know, the top 25 or so in this field, I mean, you've got Rory, you've got Lowry, you've got Scheffler, you know, all 4 Americans, Minwoo Lee and Jason Day. And you go to Mito Pereira and Joaquin Neiman out of Chile. So, you know, it really is pretty deep.
In-game live, prime time, only on SportsGrid.
Try and set the stage for what should be a great year of NFL action.
There's a handful of teams that potentially can compete for a Super Bowl championship.
Confusion and uncertainty this year more than some in the past.
This team looks like it's ready to make a move, but we just don't know if it's bad or good this year.
J.J. McCarthy is eventually going to take over, but it's like it's a no-lose situation for them.
I mean, they suck. They were 7-10.
Only on.
All right, we are live with you on SportsGrid. The Philadelphia Eagles right now are inside the New England Patriots territory. They had 1st and 10 at the New England 30-yard line after a pick by Avonte Maddox against Jacoby Brissett. The live numbers right now for you preseason NFL bettors, it's the Eagles -1.5. The game's essentially picked, though, -113 either direction on the money line. Total sitting at 30.5. Baseball numbers scoreless in Baltimore and Boston. 5.5 is your live over under. Philadelphia up 4-0 on the Nats. They are a 5.5 run line favorite in this game right now. Total checks in at 9.5 with Zach Wheeler going. Zach Wheeler going allows me to mention Paul Skeens quickly. There's Paul Skeens. There's a Paul Skeens tab available as he goes tomorrow against the Mariners and Logan Gilbert. Total 6.5, rightfully so. -126 number on Pittsburgh. But of course, if I'm going to bring this up, I'm going to bring this up through the eyes of the NL Cy Young market. At some point, maybe we should talk about the fact that Paul Skeens' number to win NL Rookie of the Year has completely plummeted. A once -3,000 price is -170, as Jackson Merrill has clearly earned some consideration. Plus, the 10-game losing streak for Pittsburgh now has people more fearful than ever that they are going to shut Skeens down. But as I've said for a while with Skeens, my primary focus is the performance. And I believe the reason for the dropping number on Paul Skeens is performance-based more than Pirates-based. If you look at his last 3 starts, 6 innings, 1 earned. We're not going to say that that's terrible, but he didn't get a win. And if you look at the prior starts, 7 innings, 7-inning no-hitter, the 8 1/3 that he had in St. Louis, even in a loss, that was where we saw that number grow shorter. Then he went out there against Arizona, 5 1/3, 2 earned run. Again, D-backs, red hot. Red hot. But a loss. Not for him, but a loss for that baseball team. Then they played the Dodgers, 6 innings, 4 earned. Paul Skeens was pitching to an ERA of a 1.90. Outrageous stuff. It's now a 2.25. It's still awesome. Make no bones about it. But Paul Skeens has to be otherworldly because he has to make up for lost time. And now you see Hunter Green has entered this conversation in front of Paul Skeens. Tomorrow is what I believe possibly the last chance for Paul Skeens to keep his Cy Young chances alive. Seattle's offense at times is horrific. Skeens is at home. And if he has it going, this could be 8 shutout innings. Double-digit Ks. It's on the board for Paul Skeens. But it's now or never. Because Zach Wheeler's out here pitching scoreless baseball again. Purcell's been great. And now you got to have a guy like Hunter Green all of a sudden entering the conversation. Again, I don't really think Hunter Green's going to win it, but it lets you know that Skeens would still have some work to do. Sticking with the Central, I mentioned big breaking news. That is that Christian Yelich is now confirmed out for the season, which is a huge blow to the Milwaukee Brewers. Now, the Brew Crew are -3,500 to win their division. To give you an idea on how strong of a favorite that is, there is a 0 missing when you compare that to the Dodgers' number of -350 to win the West. Heck, the Phils are -1,000 to win the East. So when you consider that the position for Milwaukee is as secure as it gets of knowing they are in the playoffs, their +950 number to win the National League, which is the same as Arizona, it's $1 more than San Diego or Atlanta. The idea on the Brewers is sure they'll be there, but they are one and done. What I would say is just watch the Brewers, see if you can fall in love with the pitching, see if Freddie Peralta ever shows the Cy Young stuff a lot of us believe he has. I don't think it's been that kind of year for Peralta. When the bracket settles, every expectation is Milwaukee is in the bracket. Every expectation. What kind of number are you going to get, though, when that bracket comes out? Because it could even be better once teams like Arizona or San Diego really claim their spot. Yelich done for the year. Dave Charapanth around the corner.
This property runs this community. A lot of people from this community work here. They're proud of this. This has got a lot of history here. And then when you think about the beauty with the hills, the mountains, the trees, the water.
One thing about this place is one of the words he kept saying, family. It's a place that when my family and everyone comes, they treat you like family. They treat you like you're one of their own. And it's, obviously when you look at the place, you look at the rooms, everything, it's like taking a step back in time. And I think that's an absolutely amazing place to be able to put your phone down and slow everything down. I mean, the world these days is so fast. Everything has to get done so quickly. And every time I've come here with my family at Greenbrier, it's like everything stops and it's slow motion. You actually get to enjoy life, enjoy your time with family.
Just this place feels like I'm a kid again. You get out here, you see nature, you see the trails, you see going on a hike. I grew up in Fresno. We go up to the mountains every once in a while, and that's just kind of what it feels like a little bit. Obviously, it's more forested here and whatnot, but the 58, I don't know how to explain it. Just kind of semi-blacked out, you can kind of say. It was one of those moments where the last 4 holes, I was obviously trying to win a tournament, but it started to rain, and I just kept focusing on my game. I didn't get outside of this bubble that I created with myself. I just wanted to focus on hitting the next best shot. And I think that's what really pushed me on to focusing on obviously winning the tournament, but to shoot in the 50s and then ultimately make the 40-foot on the last hole for 58. That was just the cherry on top. And what a special moment, a special place in my heart forever, and probably one of the most special moments in my entire life.
Live right here, it's Game Time Decisions. It's 3-0. Eagles get on the board first with a field goal. Kenny Pickett has not been very good or sharp for the Eagles in this game, but he's been better than Jacoby Brissett, who was just forced to punt. And Brissett's played all 3 drives so far. I don't know if he'll be out there for a 4th, so this would be a really ugly performance if Jacoby Brissett leaves this game 3 of 7 for 17 yards, 2.4 yards per pass, no touchdowns and a pick. Look, it's the preseason. But New England is not going to be over the moon about Drake May not starting to begin with. The fact that if Drake May comes out here, leads a touchdown drive, right? It's just going to start conversations. And New England will probably leave the door open on those conversations throughout, right? That would be the expectation. Let's just quickly acknowledge the other NFL preseason games that we have this weekend. I think there's a couple of interesting ones. Baltimore's a 1.5-point favorite on Atlanta. Early read, is that surprising? Falcons were road favorites in Miami. The Ravens were home dogs to the Eagles and lost. They were appropriately booked. The reason for is the Ravens' quarterback room isn't the same right now heading into a preseason. I don't know if we expect Lamar to play. That could very well be the tipping of the scales here. But I would almost think maybe then you'd see a higher total than 36.5. Falcons at 1.5 are actually a little interesting, even if I'm a little scared off, and maybe this is why the number is of betting the Ravens to lose again in the preseason. Bears are a big-time 6.5-point favorite on the Cincinnati Bengals. Early read there is, by the way, I don't know if this is how this is going to be for me all the time in football. I actually prefer to bet underdogs, I've learned. We talk about comfortability when it comes to betting the board, and I felt like that during basketball, and I feel like that here now, just through some of the preseason stuff that I've been doing. But since he was laying 6 to Tampa last week, we're now flipping this in Chicago. It's 6.5. I know the Bears destroyed the Buffalo Bills, but Cincinnati played Burrow last week, went out there, bang, boom, led a touchdown drive. 6.5, it looks a little tall for me. Early read there, 36.5 listed total. Huge 39.5 number in the Texans-Giants game. I can't make heads or tails of that. I don't know if we get Drew Lock in this game. Certainly an expectation that we will get Daniel Jones. C.J. Stroud played in week 1. look there would be Texans and under. Early look, though. We're going to go through all of this, but just kind of reading through some of your preseason games. Chiefs are laying a full 7 to Detroit, 38.5 total. Browns are a 3-point favorite on the Minnesota Vikings, 36.5 is your listed total there. And then you got the Titans and the Seahawks, a 1.5-point line. Seattle was a road favorite against the Chargers of 3, a road favorite again here on the Tennessee Titans. Two teams that are 1-0 in the preseason, 35.5 listed number there. Colts, 2.5-point favorite on the Arizona Cardinals on Saturday. Pittsburgh's laying 5.5 to the Buffalo Bills, 37.5 is your over-under. A lot of Saturday preseason action, lot. There's only 2 Sunday games. It's going to be the Commanders catching 4.5 from the Miami Dolphins. It's going to be the Jets getting laying a 1.5 on the road against the Carolina Panthers. Do we see the Bryce Young debut? What about that total? Woohoo! 31.5. Get excited about that number on a preseason Saturday. Rams-Chargers, 2.5-point number with L.A. favored. Chargers laying the 2.5 there, 33.5 total. You've got a 2.5 number for Jacksonville at home of the Bucs. You've got a 7-point number for the Raiders, which is insane on the Dallas Cowboys. That is an insane number. They did this when they played the Vikings in Week 1, where you saw a 3.5 road favorite number. Oh, but Gardner and O'Connell are playing, and they lost that game outright, laying 7 at home here now to Dallas. Let's bring in Dave Sharapan. Consig, great to see you. Sir, just kind of flying through some NFL preseason lines. Just take me through the process. Booking NFL preseason, what is that like? And, are there any takeaways or anything that, people should be on the lookout for?
Well, here, I'll give you this. There's the spreads. 1, 6.5, 2.5, 7, 3, there's a 4.5 or 5. Wow, 5.5 in Pittsburgh. 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2.5. Oh, and there's another 6.5. Why are the Raiders 6.5 against Cowboys? It's pretty easy. It's pretty easy. You put them up right around pick 3. If you go, I can't believe there's a 6.5. I can't. They usually don't go that high. The Bengals were 6.5 last week. Didn't even come close. So it's all the dogs. And the totals last week were, I believe it was 12-5 to the under with the Hall of Fame game the week before. So the totals actually get adjusted up a little bit because there's supposed to be more scoring. The script is different with only 3 home games. This used to be a formula, very simple. First preseason game, put them up, let them go. Second preseason game, slight adjustment. Third is for real. And then the fourth one was, you might as well have played circus music, K-Dub. There was nothing to do. And the fourth week of the preseason was nothing. Is this the dress rehearsal tonight or this weekend?
I think it looks like it changes team to team. The Eagles are doing something that's odd. I will say this. I do not have a hardline opinion on whether you should or should not play starters in preseason. I don't think we have enough evidence to say that there's a correct answer with that. What I don't like is the Eagles saying they wanted to play their guys in week 1. They didn't because of the rain. Fine. And then being like, well, we missed our chance. We're not going to play them at all. I don't know. I don't like that. I don't like that. That throws me off. Let your guys get out there. If you wanted them to get out there, let them get out there, I feel, Dave.
Yeah, I think you're right. And from the book's perspective, it's like either do it or don't. It's like if we're in a casino and we're playing blackjack and you get 16, either hit it all the time or never hit it. Now we have this variance with 3 preseason games. There's no real way for everybody to kind of think the same way. Veteran teams, hey, it's not baseball, but it rains and the vets don't play. Okay. So I think it's all different, and it's never really been like this. Just tread cautiously, take dogs, and bet unders. At least that's what worked the first week.
Yeah, so I ended up, and again, Dave knows me well enough, but just in case anyone, the first time I brought this up, didn't hear me try and soften this comment. Week 1 preseason in the NFL, I went 7-2.
Hello.
Listen, I wasn't tweeting them out. I was away. I was in Saratoga having a nice time. I was doing the amount, as I said, Dave, right? the amount of work you can do for preseason football. But I was hoping, and I am still hoping, that I was finding a rhythm, right? Just getting into a groove of things, right? Betting football again, thinking it out. There's one thing that's been kind of sticking with me, though, because I was away, right? I wasn't scrolling Twitter. I wasn't talking to anyone other than the kind of people I was with, right? I wonder if I was blocking out noise, right?
Oh.
And you're just kind of day up seeing numbers, and I can kind of hear from your reaction. I wonder if that is part of what went correct for me in week one.
I mean, we're in the content space, Kevin, but odds makers, book guys, pro bettors, they're not watching our shows. They're not. I mean, we might have some guys in a room watching when me and you were doing our thing or a couple other people, but they're not, because you have to block out the noise. That's really what makes you successful. Now, you can take in information, but you have to know how to process it and can't let it cloud the process. So that was very profound, what you said. I like that.
I think what happens and I'm sure this is, this happens to some of you out there who watch and listen. You get to a point where you never want to all be on the same side. What happens is then you start to undercut some of the people that you listen to. Like, there are people, there are people whose opinion I respect. I hear they're on this side. I go, whoa, I don't want to jump on there. Let me reroute. And you start to overcomplicate. We're back with you here. More Game Time Decisions.
This property runs this community. A lot of people from this community work here. They're proud of this. This has got a lot of history here. And then when you think about the beauty with the hills, the mountains, the trees, the water.
One thing about this place is one of the words he kept saying, family. It's a place that when my family, everyone comes, they treat you like family. They treat you like you're one of their own. And it's, obviously when you look at the place, you look at the rooms, everything, it's like taking a step back in time. And I think that's an absolutely amazing place to be able to put your phone down and slow everything down. I mean, the world these days is so fast. Everything has to get done so quickly. And every time I've come here with my family at Greenbrier, it's like everything stops and it's slow motion. You actually get to enjoy life, enjoy your time with family.
Just this place feels like I'm a kid again. You get out here, you see nature, you see the trails, you see going on a hike. I grew up in Fresno. We go up to the mountains every once in a while, and that's just kind of what it feels like a little bit. Obviously, it's more forested here and whatnot, but the 58, I don't know how to explain it. Just kind of semi-blacked out, you can kind of say. It was one of those moments where the last 4 holes, I was obviously trying to win a tournament, but it started to rain, and I just kept focusing on my game. I didn't get outside of this bubble that I created with myself. I just wanted to focus on hitting the next best shot. And I think that's what really pushed me on to focusing on obviously winning the tournament, but to shoot in the 50s and then ultimately make the 40-footer on the last hole for 58. That was just the cherry on top. And what a special moment, a special place in my heart forever, and probably one of the most special moments in my entire life.
All right, we're live with you right here now. We're on SportsGrid. We're in the mix. We have a Kyle Schwarber base hit. Runners on the corners, nobody out. The at-bat before was a Rojas base hit that scored Wilson after a triple. We have the 1.5 hits, runs, RBI, so we just need someone to bring in good old Kyle Schwarber here as the Phils are looking to open up this thing on the Nats. Dave, I was just saying this before you got going here. We're going to talk some baseball, and then I want to ask you a couple things quick, college football. I think tomorrow could very well be Skeens' last opportunity to keep the Cy Young hopes alive. At home, good spot.
and do something Wheeler did that I don't think he maybe got enough credit for. Phils were reeling. He went up against that Mariners team and 8 shutout innings. He was absolutely lights out.
He was.
I think the Pirates tomorrow need 7 at least shutout Paul Skeens innings, but I think he can give it to him. I really do think that.
I hope you're right. You almost made me shed a tear saying that it'd be Skeens' last opportunity. They might shut him down, K-Dub. I mean, they haven't won in 10 days. They can't lose today. They lost 9 games in a row. They can't lose today because they're not playing today. So that's good. It's Skeens Gilbert tomorrow. Still got it in my head. I went, well, that's got to be Pirates minus a quarter and 7 under minus 20 when I did it today on BVB. We actually had right side on today. He was electric. We got kind of regional, though. We talked a lot of Philly stuff, but it was good. It was really good. I'm with you. Skeens is a rookie and all of that. And his stranglehold on Rookie of the Year is going away with what Jack Smerrill's doing in San Diego.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Oh, it's being adjusted. The Cy Young is done. I'm not going to worry about the Cy Young. I just want the Pirates to win. He needs to be the ace, just like you said that Wheeler did. Go out, here, big guy, here's the ball, and him go, and like you said, 7 shutout innings. Pirates and under for sure in the game. Under 7. If you're listening now, you look ahead number. It's going to be 6.5 and half the books tomorrow if it isn't already now.
Yeah, it's already 6.5 in some spots. I'm going to say something, but I don't have the research to go and click yet for people. But my read on that dropping Skeens number is not, oh, here comes Jackson Merrill. If Skeens is done, I think we would have an open field then.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way Jackson Churio is 44-1 and Jackson Merrill is plus 120. That's not, I'm not lining up there. Right? Like, Imanaga could get back in the race if Skeens is done. Sitting there 75-1. The kid Tyler Fitzgerald hits a home run every night for the Giants.
Right.
So that's my read on the NL Rookie of the Year situation. But again, Skeens tomorrow is going to dictate a lot of stuff. And I think we agree on that.
Dictate. I don't think win or lose. Whoa. Hello. Are we still here?
Hello.
I don't know.
I don't know. We'll keep going.
Okay. All right. We're going. He can't win or lose it completely tomorrow, but if he goes out 4 2/3, gives up 4 earned, the Pirates lose again. That might be a wrap, K-Dub. Might be a wrap.
No, it is. Here's the only thing that I will ever complain about is they decided to never flash the cash out. I can't even get mad at myself. I'd rather get mad at myself that I didn't do what I say. I didn't do what I told everyone my plan was, which was cash out. When the number, I did nothing wrong. We did nothing wrong.
I know.
They didn't give us that opportunity. It is what it is. Phils are up 7-0. Schwarber, the 1.5 hits, runs RBI. Walks there with a Trey Turner double. Trey Turner, by the way, just sneaky if he stayed healthy, would actually be in that MVP race. But that's something I only ever bring up because I have the MVP ticket, which has no chance. Here's one other baseball thing for you. Complaining sometimes works. Gunnar Henderson, back-to-back days with a home run. Ever since I got really angry Tuesday night, Dave. I mean, this guy's red hot. I mean, we don't give him enough credit. Back in the MVP race, maybe, according to my sources. No, he's not.
It's so bad because I saw it, and I don't know if you're sleeping yet or what. I know it's later, because I'm 3 hours behind you in Vegas. But I'm going to shoot you a text. As soon as I saw it, I was like, I don't want to wake him up if he's sleeping. He's working out. He's doing all these other things. But I was laughing. I was like, these visits, and you present something. And I know I'm doing in-game live later every night, and I'm watching it and rooting it. I'm saying, did Gunnar Henderson hit a home run? Wes was looking at me like, why? I was just curious. That was K-Dub's play.
Yeah. Hey, since I brought up the AL MVP, I have a question for you that I don't know if it's possible to answer. Like, what would the over-under Judge career homers be? Like, to get into the 500 club, he's got to be minus, it's probably off the board, right?
Oh, yeah. Fastest ever to 300. Is that right? He's going to hit
400
500.
less at bats than Babe Ruth.
It's unbelievable.
That's crazy.
That's crazy is right. So historically, when you think about it, I'm like, Matt asked me today on BVB, where does Judge fit historically into baseball? And I'm like, first of all, he's still writing it, but he has the American League record for home runs in a single season. He got to 300 faster than anybody. He's still writing the book. Now, I mean, obviously, as a Yankee guy, you want to see him win the World Series and hoist it. He's hitting 500, K-Dub. I'm thinking we got to talk about 600 for actually making a line, no?
I think, here's what I would say. If he doesn't end up as one of the 5 best power hitters in baseball's history, it would be a disappointment. However, the thing that he is doing this year that is blowing me away, I cannot believe he's batting .330.
Right.
He's batting .333. That is, Dave, think about everything that people say about 2024 Major League Baseball. It's all homers and strikeouts, right? Well, the best home run hitter has the second best average in the league.
It's incredible. This is Pedro, a la when everybody was doing steroids, and he had a 1.9 ERA.
Nuts. Be right back.
This property runs this community. A lot of people from this community work here. They're proud of this. This has got a lot of history here. And then when you think about the beauty with the hills, the mountains, the trees, the water.
One thing about this place is one of the words he kept saying, family. It's a place that when my family, everyone comes, they treat you like family. They treat you like you're one of their own. And it's, obviously when you look at the place, you look at the rooms, everything, it's like taking a step back in time. And I think that's an absolutely amazing place to be able to put your phone down and slow everything down. I mean, the world these days is so fast. Everything has to get done so quickly. And every time I've come here with my family at Greenbrier, it's like everything stops and it's slow motion. You actually get to enjoy life, enjoy your time with family.
Just this place feels like I'm a kid again. You get out here, you see nature, you see the trails, you see going on a hike. I grew up in Fresno. We go up to the mountains every once in a while, and that's just kind of what it feels like a little bit. And obviously, it's more forested here and whatnot, but the 58, I don't know how to explain it. Just kind of semi-blacked out, you can kind of say. It was one of those moments where the last 4 holes, I was obviously trying to win a tournament, but it started to rain, and I just kept focusing on my game. I didn't get outside of this bubble that I created with myself, and I just wanted to focus on hitting the next best shot. And I think that's what really pushed me on to focusing on obviously winning the tournament, but to shoot in the 50s and then ultimately make the 40-footer on the last hole for 58. That was just the cherry on top. And what a special moment, a special place in my heart forever, and probably one of the most special moments in my entire life.
Game time decisions. Kevin Walsh, Dave Sharapan. The WNBA is right around the corner. All right, we're going to put those picks on the board for you in just a second. But, Dave, I told you on Tuesday I wanted to ask you something that was related to the conferences in college football.
Yes.
And as we get closer, we're going to be able to expand on this a lot more, but I want to put these numbers on the table for people. 12 spots for the CFP playoff, but realistically 11 because we know a group of 5 team is going to occupy one of those. These are the over-unders for teams in the playoff with the Big Four. I'm going to give you the juice. Over 1.5 for the ACC. minus 120. Over 1.5 for the Big 12, plus 110. Over 3.5 for the Big 10, plus 150. Over 4.5 for the SEC is plus 120. Does anything jump out to you, Dave, when you see those numbers there for conference playoff teams in that CFP?
I'd love for the Big Ten number to go over. That would mean Penn State would get in, most likely. But I don't see how to get – I mean, to get 4, somebody like Iowa has to get in, and I don't see it happening. The ACC number is a good number, but who's in? Is it Florida State and Clemson, one or the other? Because plus money over both. The U, it's the U.
Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa, who said that? I was off camera. They don't know.
It could be the U. I'm just saying. I mean, I see the hand signals sometimes too. I'm a base coach. I mean, this is what we do.
That's
the
true.
Big 12, I'll tell you this, has no prayer in hell of going over that 1.5 number. I don't think so.
All right, let me ask you this. Do you think that the Big Ten and the SEC, one of them has to go over their number? Or do you think it could be 3 and 4?
I think it could be 3 and 4. I do.
Here's why. If you get that's 7, the group of 5 is 8.
Yep.
We'd have 4 spots left. Notre Dame is projected to get one of them. Right? What you're looking at then is either the ACC sends 2 or the Big 12 sends 2. And because one of them is going to send 1. But that's why it's really interesting. Like, I almost wonder, and it's tough because you're kind of juiced out, is there value in playing all 4 unders and expecting to go 3 and 1 in these markets? There's limited spots.
Yeah, this is different. This is very, very different than anything that's ever been done before. And I think there will be opportunities. We'll have to discuss this more because I got to get out of here. Doing a show tonight with Dane. But this is good food for thought. I will I promise I will work on this weekend. You'll have to remind me again. All 4 unders, we got plus money on 3 of them and minus money on 1 of them?
No, that's the thing is we're juiced out. We're minus money everywhere. So that's the worry. That's the worry. But just to give people an idea of that landscape, Consig, incredible as always. Let's put those WNBA picks on the board. Do not miss out. Look at that. Dane Martinez in the mix. It's going to be a great show. Get involved tonight with Dane and Dave on In Game Live. I'm on Sky Mercury under, but at 166.5. Played it before the Kennedy Carter news. Of course, that changes things. I understand if you want to, if you're a little hesitant. Part of the reason I wanted to play that 166.5 is because if Carter missed the game, I'd be getting value. I didn't realize it was going to drop as much as it did. So again, I understand hesitancy there. I still think it's under because it's not just Carter being out. It's the fact that this is the first game they're going to play all year without Marina Mabry, traded at the All-Star break to the Connecticut Sun, who is the second leading scorer, led this team in assists, and led this team in minutes played. It's a big shift here for this group. Lynx Mystics, I'm not involved in this game. I'm very interested to see what we get out of Nafisha Collier, though, in her first game in a while for the Minnesota Lynx. She missed the final 5 heading into the All-Star break, but was pretty strong, especially in the gold game for Team USA. 18.5 for points prop, 9.5 for the rebounds there. You see the number for a double-double. I'm involved twice in Sparks Liberty. I'm on Sabrina Ionescu under 20.5 points, even money. I think you're seeing a slightly inflated number with what she was able to do in the 2 games prior to the All-Star break because Breanna Stewart missed those games. I'm going under on Sab. I'm going over on Rakia Jackson. 11.5 is that points prop. In July, we saw her average 15.5 points per game on 41% shooting. If the high-level rookie choice for the LA Sparks can get a little bit more comfortable with that extended break, she blasts through the 11.5 tonight here against the Liberty. W is back. Caitlin Clark tomorrow. I'll see you Saturday.